But now, how much do you spend on Pokemon?
Oh, you got roasted.
Okay, let's not. Anyways, moving on.
Welcome to episode, 638, or 4. I'm Joe.
And I'm Jamal, and welcome to the Jamal and Joe Show, the place where we talk about a little bit of everything and keep people entertained and up to date with what's going on in the world. Thank you for watching this podcast. And remember, if you like what you hear, or even if you don't like what you hear, hit the like button, subscribe, comment, and turn on notifications because you don't want to miss anything that we're about to say.
Radio.
Yes,
and
sir.
Right to it. How you doing?
I'm doing well. It was a good week. How was your week?
As a whole, good. I mean, we can start to cover all the various topics, in the news of why it's not great. But like we said, we're gonna try to.
Well, first of all,
it
rained where you are, so you're not on fire anymore. So that's a good thing.
That is not 100% correct. So it did rain, yes.
Mm-hmm.
We are still on fire.
Oh.
So, and we got like 2 inches of rain, which is a lot for us. That's a lot, as you know, native son, 2 inches of rain in a day or so is a lot by volume here. Where you are, you guys probably get that like in an afternoon and then it's sunny again or something weird.
And then you never knew it rained.
Yeah, right. And it's probably like 95 degrees the whole time.
Don't even remind me. I'm glad August is over. That was awful. Like, I don't know if people out there, if you're watching this and you're in the southern United States, if it's ever been 92 degrees and downpour raining, it feels like you're in your shower, but outside in your clothes. Yeah. It's humid, it's hot, it's muggy.
Kind of gross.
Awful. Yeah. I'm used to cold rain. Like if it's raining, it's cold. It's weird when it rains and it's hot. And then it stops raining and it gets hotter.
Because it's steamy?
Because it's steamy. And the steam is just rising up.
Right. Yeah, so it's nice. The rain is now officially stopped, and our forecast is like just clear. I mean, we're supposed to be like 85 degrees or something crazy. Like, and nothing but sunshine for the next 10 days. So
damn near October and it's 85.
Yeah, and I mean, I know this helped a lot with the fires, of course, but it's amazing how much water it takes to get through like the canopy of a forest to get to the part underneath. And like there's some just nuts videos like these folks walking around their properties where like this guy almost stepped through and there's like a fire underneath the ground.
Wow.
And it was like 1,200 degrees. I mean, they showed like a hole, like a side view, like you could see it. I mean, it looked like a damn barbecue. But yet above the ground, it just kind of looked smoky, like everything else was smoky. And I mean, oh my gosh. So yeah, what it will take to get the water all the way to that point is going to take a bit more than apparently what we got, unfortunately. And so they've closed down like all the forest is closed, like recreation sites are closed, trailheads, everything is all shut down, which I don't ever remember them doing that before. And it seems like now since the pandemic, it's like, oh well, we'll just shut it all down again.
Right. Because people are used to we've kind of
maybe used to it, I guess, used to the idea. But it's legitimate. They were saying in California that the standing trees, the live forest, was measuring drier than kiln dried lumber.
Really?
That's not good.
That's not good at all.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't know if they got any rain down there at all, but anyway, we could use some more, but it doesn't look like there's any more coming in the next 10 days. So
Yeah, that's sad. Well, tell me this. What do you got for me? What's first on the topics?
you know what? We like I said, we were going to try to stay a little lighter. And don't get me wrong, I can really, and just because we're talking about like the news of the world, honestly, I mean, yes, it's heavy. I mean, I get it too. I mean, but at the same time, it's to me, this is almost part of the reason why I wanted to do any of this in the first place, because I felt like there was such a lack of just a rational discourse of what in the heck is going on. And I don't claim to have any or all answers, just to be able to talk about it without people losing their minds, which seems harder and harder to do. So anywho's, I know what I want to start with. I really don't need to look at the list, but here it is. I don't know if you can see it. I'm going to show it to you.
Ooh, snacks.
Yeah, but not just any snacks. Jamal snacks.
So are you talking the good old clam dip? Is that where you're going?
Please enlighten us all. Let me get comfy.
Oh, man. So
it's a process, folks.
I tell you, back in the day, the best snack ever.
And where did you come up with this? Before you dive right headlong into it, where is the birthplace of this snack?
So
was it you? Was it someone else?
So to be completely honest, I don't remember how I came up with this. It was quite bad.
Was this the touch of God himself speaking to you through snack?
Some of it came out of boredom, and some of it came out of when I'm snacking. I like to just have a lot of random snacks. Some people have like one bowl or something. I like to have a lot of different things.
Were you the fellow at the soda machine that would make a graveyard?
Absolutely. I still do that to this day.
All the way down the line?
All the way down the line. But just to clear, just the light sodas.
I don't know why it's called, why is that even called graveyard? I don't even know.
I've heard it called a graveyard. I've also heard it called a LA freeway because it's a little bit of everything.
Okay.
Okay. But I do, and so when I
have not heard the LA freeway, by the way.
When I do, well, there's also a drink called the LA freeway.
Oh, and because you used to sling drinks, so you know all this.
Be a bartender. So the LA freeway drink is probably the most disgusting drink in the history of mankind. And so you know how you go to the bar and the bartender's pouring the drinks and you've got the spill tray, the little black spill tray thing?
Okay.
So when the spill tray gets full, you pour it all in a cup on ice, and that's the LA freeway because it's
that sounds like something my friend Darren would enjoy.
So depending on what drinks you've been pouring, you just, you say, hey, you want an LA freeway? And you'd have to dump out every now and then you put it on ice and you give it to them, and that's an LA freeway. That's the drink.
So is that like only like the regulars, like they know that one's coming?
Usually if you're a bartender and somebody's like pissing you off and they're really like, bothering you, you say, hey, you want a free drink? Yeah, LA freeway. You get the spilled drink, you give it to them, and it might have a little Jaeger in it. It might have who knows what it's got in it, and it's the most disgusting color. And
well, so okay, this is already segueing, but I don't care. Because I've always wanted to ask, and you're a professional then, what my drink is, because I don't know what it is. It's the drink that I have, because it's not straight, so I can't say it's just straight. It's on ice, tequila on ice with a squirt of lemon and salt. It's almost like, to me, like a margarita, but I know I can't. It's not a margarita.
Tequila on ice with the squirt of lime and salt. That's kind of like a junior You could almost get away with calling that a margarita. It doesn't have all the margarita elements in it, but
it's not blended. It's just shaky.
You could almost call that like a tequila spritzer or something. but it's not really carbonated.
I don't like calling it a spritzer. I'll be honest.
Yeah.
I'd rather not. I just don't like the word spritzer next to my drink. It
Yeah.
lessens the power of my drink to me.
So let me
Okay,
tell everybody out there the genesis of my signature snack.
Yes.
And it's delicious.
Oh,
So,
and it is a chemical reaction that should be studied, honestly.
It's a chemical reaction like no other. It's
you
one of
maybe
those
fuel rockets to the space. I'm just saying maybe
it's one of those where you're having a party in your mouth, but not in a dirty way. It's awesome. So
it's a little dirty.
Maybe. So this goes back to probably 1993, 1994. And I'm a big Doritos guy. I love Doritos. I don't know if I'm saying their name, if they're going to come after us, or if they're going to sponsor us. Who knows?
I would think, why? We're doing nothing but singing praises.
Right.
I mean, honestly, this is nothing but.
Yeah, but not just.
Continue, please.
Dorito.
Sorry.
Not just any Dorito.
No. Of course not.
Cool Ranch Doritos. Right? Cool. You got to have a bag of Cool Ranch Doritos. Right. That's ingredient.
Do you know why that is?
There's something about the ranch that mixes with the other elements I'm about to talk about that kind of fuses together better than the nacho cheese.
I kind of agree with that because I was just thinking about nacho. We have some nacho cheese Doritos. Honestly, this is not sponsored by Doritos here. It ought to be. But I was just trying to think the last time I had Jamal's snack, if a nacho cheese Dorito wouldn't.
It doesn't work.
Yeah.
It doesn't work. It doesn't give the same kick. So you get your Cool Ranch Dorito. The next thing you have to have is clam dip. Not ranch dip, not French onion dip, not any other dip. You have to have clam dip.
See, and this right here is where you already know, like, you folks are starting to go, Cool Ranch Doritos, that sounds great.
Yeah,
and then just burn, you know. But hold on, folks. I promise you.
There's more.
And it gets better.
It gets better.
So
it's a process. You get your Cool Ranch Doritos.
Well, let's get all the ingredients first, and then we'll break down the steps.
All right. So ingredient number one is your bag of Cool Ranch Doritos.
Yep.
Ingredient number two is clam dip.
Is there any kind of specific clam dip here?
You know, clam dip is harder to find in the Southeast than it is on the West Coast.
Really?
But back there.
Well, like I would think like all the New Englanders would bring it down, like all the clam chowder.
Yeah, but that's like 600 miles away from where I'm at, you know.
It's not far.
Yeah, it's not that far. So you need
but anyway, so clam dip is hard to find there. So can you even have you had your snack since moving to the East Coast?
Once or twice, yes.
Have your children had your snack?
They don't like it at all.
It's America, but they've tried it.
They've tried it. They don't like it.
I feel like I need to bring her back over here. And I mean, don't get me wrong, the Roblox and Minecraft, good.
Yeah.
But this, anyhow, so neither one approved. The wife?
Oh, God, no, the wife doesn't approve. She thinks I'm crazy.
Wow.
All right. So ingredient number one, Cool Ranch Doritos.
Yep.
Ingredient number two, clam dip. I prefer Reese's. Again, not sponsored by Reese's, but if you want
you're a long ways away from them. But
I'm a long ways away from Reese's, but Reese's, if you want to send me some clam dip, I will throw it in the fridge and I will eat it. Ingredient number three, and this is key, a Snickers bar. And ingredient number four, A&W root beer.
And there it is.
So the way you do it, this is how you do it as a pro.
I apologize for interrupting here, but I just want to take a moment to appreciate this list of ingredients that you've rattled off here. That, I mean, honestly, like in the history of mankind, has this ever been put together?
I would like to think that the human population is smart enough that someone besides me has come up with this delicacy.
I thought you were going to say smart enough to say, "Oh no, we'd never do that." And I would say that they're wrong. Okay, yeah, I you know what? I don't know. I still think that you've stumbled upon greatness here, and that and this is our opportunity to let folks know
Right.
what they are missing. So now please break down for us like your process and
So the
did you try excuse me, did you try other lineups, if you will? Did you try other methods to your madness, your snack madness?
There's been many iterations of this, many iterations.
Oh, what were some of the others?
But when you find something that works for you, it works. So I'm a big chip and dip guy. I love chips and I love dip. And I love to try all kinds of different chips and all kinds of different dip. Some are hits, some are misses. French onion dip and ranch dip are kind of classics. They go with everything. But when I was living in Portland, for whatever reason, there was many types of dips. I don't know if Portland's the dip capital of the world, but you don't find clam dip in a lot of different places.
Interesting.
So to do it like a pro, you get a big, good, thick triangle, like a hole and not a cracked one. You get a big, thick, Dorito, Cool Ranch Dorito, and you dip that bad boy in the clam dip. And you want to make sure you get a clam piece on it, right? You get it, you throw it in your mouth, and you chew it up. And you want to chew it 4 or 5 times to break the Dorito down, and that's important. Now, before you swallow, you want to get the Snickers bar, and you want to take a pretty good bite off the Snickers bar, right?
So folks, you got to appreciate at this point your mouth, because you might have gotten like kind of aggressive at one point, like at the beginning of the snack process, and you go, hey, I'm going to go with 2 Doritos. I love clam dip, and I'm not even scared of Cool Ranch Doritos and clam dip. I'm getting after this. Boom. So you're thinking, boom, I got a big mouthful of stuff at this point, right? And then you go, oh, Snickers, you say. So now your mouth is really full. Because I've had this snack. You know this.
Yes.
I've eaten it. It's good.
Yeah. Now, when you take that pull off that Snickers and the chocolate and the nougat and the peanuts mixed with the Doritos and the clam dip,
there's a texture, just extravaganza.
It's chemical reactions are happening, right? There's magic happening, right?
All in your mouth.
It's fusing. It's getting it's fizzing, right? It's the
I think it's literally. I think there's it's foaming actually, maybe
because you got the kind of like the spice from the Cool Ranch.
Yep.
And you've got the kind of
all natural.
The I don't even know what the clam is. It kind of.
I don't think any of us know what the clam is.
It might not even be clam. Just disclosure.
It's a little chewy bit.
It's a little bit chewy, and then the chocolate hits it, and the nougat and the peanuts, right? And it all fuses together, and then you're not done. You're not even to the best part yet.
This is pretty much like I'm just gonna say like climbing a mountain,
absolutely,
of a snack, because this is not all. There's not all pleasure going in here. This is a commitment of a snack that I'm trying to make folks understand here. This is not just, I'm having no. This is you're doing. You have to go out of your way to make this happen.
You do.
You don't accidentally buy all this stuff, or maybe you did initially, and then every time after that, you got to go out of your way to buy this stuff. But the point is, you got to be dedicated.
You got
to get to this point.
If you're to this point, you are almost there. It's almost like you've climbed the mountain and you're coming through those clouds and you haven't really seen anything. And then you get high enough on the mountain and you look and it's just beauty everywhere. And
what is that beauty right there?
That comes with the A&W root beer. Yep. You crack open that root beer, you smell that kind of sarsaparilla smell, and you take a big swig of the root beer with everything in your mouth and you chew it up and you swallow, and it is the best.
And
it's no better.
And can I just say again?
It gets no better.
And I'm just again. There's so many things happening at this point. I mean, the flavors. I mean, you're boom, right? So the flavor chart.
You got sour. You have savory.
I believe that's called edamame, is what the real foodies like to call this. And this is in fact a foodie type of thing.
If I can find clam dip, we'll do a live on air next week. I'll go and search all week for clam dip, and we'll show everybody what it's about.
Volunteering me that for me to do that.
I will do it.
You're going to do it. I feel like I should do that because it seems like it would be weird if I didn't do that with you.
Now, the thing for me is trying to find clam dip in Charlotte, North Carolina. That's going to be.
I bet I could send you some. I don't know if it. Here's a question for you, clam dip expert.
Yes.
How can you tell if clam dip is bad?
So,
Does
like
it smell like extra clammy?
It does. So here's my rule with dip in general. When I open the dip, I try to finish it.
Nice.
And
You're responsible.
Yes. And if a dip has been in the refrigerator for more than a day or two, I usually toss it. I usually buy the little 99-cent dips. You know,
does that even go with like the ranch? Or is this only with ones that have actual meat or meat-like substances?
Yeah, anything that's
in
kind
the
of
dip.
Anything that's kind of dairy-based, it's like.
Do you double dip?
Well, I usually nobody around me.
Do you dip and then you dip again?
Well, nobody that I know likes clam dip. So if I have clam dip, I got the thing to myself.
You feel like you did. That's pretty much just Daddy's Tubbo dip.
I don't have to work, but yeah, I usually give it like 48 hours or less, and if there's any left, I double, because when it comes to milk-based things, I try not to push the envelope, because the results of pushing the envelope can be pretty.
Have you ever had raw milk?
Never had raw milk. Never had unpasteurized milk.
It's good. I don't know if like the good part of it is from like, is this maybe gonna kill me? But it tastes so delicious, Yeah. I mean, I guess if trust your source and all that, it is really good. I mean,
I'm not a big milk drinker per se.
No. Cereal, dude. You used to destroy a box of cereal. I think you had that same philosophy about a box of cereal. Like if it's open, you just go ahead and finish it.
The older I get, the little more lactose intolerant I get, and you get your stomach rumbling a little bit. So I've kind of backed the milk a little bit.
I will say like that, because I had the same issues, and then the raw milk was actually like the only milk I could digest.
Gotcha.
And it didn't give me issues. Again, know your sources. But actually, in Washington State, you can buy it at the store, and it's regulated, and it's legit. So I think that's kind of great, because honestly, the amount of foodstuffs that are in that, it's like the latest, scientific study comes out and says bananas are really good, the best sports bar. And you're like, yeah, because it's really good for you. And so is raw milk. But, again, know your sources, please, because don't need folks getting sick. Do you have a topic you want to go next to?
Well, I actually have my little segment that we talked about of buy or sell, but we can save that for a little bit later in the show. But my topic for you is we had talked a lot about video games before. We had talked about, kids and things like that. And, earlier on in the show, we had my little one on, and, we were asking her how long she sits in front of the computer and plays. And, I think you said, how long does she, do I let her?
Yeah.
How much is too much video games for kids? That's what I want to talk to you about. Because I know I have girls, you have boys.
Yep.
And so we don't play a whole lot of video games. I got the PS4 sitting right over there. And we probably use it more as to watch Netflix on than we do to actually play video games. They're just not that interested in video games, other than the Minecrafts and the building games like that. I went out and bought them.
Dude, those are my kiddos' favorite games. I
know back in the day you used to fancy a video game or 15.
I still do. No, I love them. They're the best. They're great. Shit. I'm still waiting for the holodeck from like Star Trek, the walk-in video game. Not some bullshit you strap onto your eyeball. Oh, it's VR. No, that's some garbage. I want the walk into a room, and it's like a big like warehouse kind of room.
Yeah.
And then boom, the world comes, boom, it comes to life around you.
Kind of like
whatever that is.
Remember
Mhm.
Tron back in the day when you'd walk into the thing and you'd shut the door
Yeah.
and you look and we all were like, oh my God, this is so cool. So kind of
Right.
like you're in a space.
Yeah, but I mean, Star Trek Next Generation, which was best Star Trek. Just putting that out there for anybody that might be a Trekkie in the audience. Picard, the whole bit. So that's my favorite. Those are my favorite Star Treks, and they had on their starship like an entertainment level, like an
Mhm.
arcade essentially, but it was called the holodeck, and it was a room you just walk. You went before you walk, like you walk up to the doors and they're closed, and there's a little computer pad, and you say, "Hey, computer, I want to go skydiving." And so you walk in, it's like, and you walk in, and the room is just all like kind of black and yellow squares and lines. It's kind of like the base. That's like the green screen. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? And then boom, suddenly, you're like, it's like you're really at the Alps, or you're really wrestling an alligator, or you're really battling a Klingon, or whatever the hell. And so, I mean, that is a video game essentially, just far beyond what we got going on now. And everybody's chasing that VR idea of the goggles, and
Right.
it's just silly because they've been doing goggles with VR for 30 years, and
Sure have.
I guess they've gotten somewhat better, but still nothing I want to do.
Mhm.
I'd still rather just hang out with my gigantic, beautiful TV and
And play
sweet
there.
sound system and just do my thing. I don't have the Twitch reflexes to hang with the kiddos and the Halos and the Call of Duties.
Right.
Um, but like they say, with age comes wisdom, and it's amazing what a little bit of patience in those kind of crazy frenetic video games. Like, I don't know if you ever play any of those shooter games. But they're very fast paced,
Mhm.
like crazy fast paced. Usually too much that I anymore. I'm like, whoa, no. But when I do play them, if I take my time and it's kind of fun and you goof around a little bit, as far as like you see the kids and they're just full on sprint mode, and they're just sprint fire, sprint fire, sprint
They're
fire.
going
And you're like,
after.
wow, that is nuts. But if I can, it's like with the, you get familiar with the map. So, you kind of follow some other teammates around, see where they go, find a good place to hide or whatever, or get behind something. And, you know, it's amazing what just a little bit of thinking can overcome super fast twitchy reflexes.
Right.
So
So when it
it is fun to still do that,
so
for
when it
sure.
comes to kiddos, how
Mm.
long is too long for you
Oh
to
no,
play a
for
video
sure.
game?
Like at any stretch. No, I mean, it's always like about like how to, how to hand out fun time, um, especially in the quarantine, because like we said, there's no go outside and play with your friends. Um,
Or there shouldn't be any go outside and play with your friends.
yeah, although now we got fancy masks for them, so we're gonna maybe give that a shot. Um, but yeah, no, I mean, keeping screen time down, whether it's Roblox, Minecraft. I mean, I don't let my kiddos play Call of Duty and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So they're kind of restricted to those games,
Mm-hmm.
Minecraft and Roblox and whatever. And then there's like the real thing is, I mean, yes, restricting the time is tough, and because it's really easy as a parent to go, here's the iPad, see you later. Daddy wants a quiet time.
Right.
Um, so it's almost like I have to restrict myself of allowing that, because it's too easy to just let that be the babysitter. But yeah,
Do you find that you have to cut down on your own gameplay?
you give that up a long time ago. Just when you become a parent, you give that up, and so, and because all the games I like are just violent as hell. It's like pretty much, either, thankfully I've got a big enough house where, we can all have our game time. We can all have our screen time. Mommy hangs out on the lapper. The kiddos break up what all the other screens, the Switch, the iPad, the telly, whatever. I get to come in my little cave and play my crazy violent video games for a little bit. And then we, basically just have a timer, go, okay, let's not get too carried away. And then, go do, make sure that we go do something else. And, even if it's like a board game, I mean, or exercising of some fashion, that's all.
Yeah. So one of the things I remember from back in the day, I used to love Grand Theft Auto.
Still do, baby.
That was the game. Now, do you let your kiddos watch you play Grand Theft Auto? There it is. Do you let them watch you play?
It's one of the few games that I've bought twice, the exact same damn game, but like when it changed platforms, like my Xbox 360 died. And so then I got the fancy new Xbox, and so then I had to buy another new copy. I'm like, oh my God, I'm really buying the same game twice. Neat.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. At times where it's like I'm in a secluded environment where it's not going crazy, because it's just a really beautiful scenery. Same thing with Red Dead Redemption. It's the same people that I don't know if you're familiar with that game. It's a cowboy game.
Rockstar Games. Oh yeah.
Yeah. And, I mean, it's just such a beautiful game to look at, and it is neat to see all the stuff. And as long as I'm not in like a common lobby where there's like 28 other jackoffs that are all there to do their silly shit, just like I am, because if I see some random person in the big bad world of GTA, I'm probably going to try to blow them up, and my other friend really gets bent out of shape about that, and I'm like, that's what the game is. I mean, if you don't like that, you have the ability to play, a private match, if you want to do that. But if you're in like the common lobby with all the commoners, man, it's wild and it's crazy and it's fun as heck, because it's insanity. I mean, there's jets and tanks and people just going crazy and everything's blown. I mean, it's the best. It's not for kids.
Right. Well, I remember I used to love playing Vice City. Remember when that came out?
Yeah, for sure.
Man, I tell you what. And then I kind of stopped with San Andreas. Was probably my last Grand Theft Auto game that I played. That was so much fun though, and it was so much fun because that game essentially was rooted in kind of the hip hop culture of the mid '90s when we grew up. You know,
for sure.
The PPE characters and the menace to society themes, and
for sure.
That was my jam. That was
Yeah.
So a video game where, it was a dude like running around Los Angeles, and it was like every gangster rap song you had ever heard. That's what you're picturing in your head, and you go to the barbershop, get your braids twisted. I mean, it was just such a cool game. And coming off of playing Vice City, which was set like East Coast, very like Irish mob-ish, and then come over to San Andreas, it was like gangbangers. It was like, there's a gangbanger video game. Like, this is kind of cool, But I just love the gameplay and kind of the theory behind it, and the arc that your character takes. And, I remember, God, I'm going to date myself now, but I remember going to Blockbuster and buying a book where you would turn the page. Remember that? You turn the page and it'd kind of tell you what to do. And you get stuck, you go to the book. I mean, all that's online now. But yeah, when it comes to my kids and screen time, like I usually end up giving in more times than I don't, especially since the pandemic.
For sure.
But like, I go into my 11-year-old's room, and she's watching a tutorial on her phone, and she's playing Minecraft on the computer.
Double fisting it.
Yeah, and the stuff she's doing, it's like, I want to cut down on the screen time, but like, she's like telling me about the different types of soil and rock and and I'm like, this is not like I'm sitting there pressing A, B, and moving the joystick. Like, this is like she's learning something.
Well,
She's coming up with a strategy, like she's planning out this entire village, like she's talking about, and she's online with her cousins, and they're planning these houses and where the lake is going to go.
I mean, that's pretty awesome. I mean, you could make the case that that's an educational experience going on there, more than like Mortal Kombat of like, I learned how to do the spine rip, you
Right.
know?
And then my wife is like, turning on the screen time on the iPad, and she's like, "Dad, can I have 5 more minutes?" And I'm like, "I'm gonna give you 20 more
Nice.
minutes." And I shouldn't do that, but at the same time, I'm looking at it, and it's like, this is so cool. And like you were saying earlier, I can relate to it. Like the graphics remind me of being a kid, and it's kind of a throwback.
Yeah.
But at the same time, staring at a screen all day is not good. But in this pandemic we got going on,
No, you got to do what you
staring at a
can.
screen all day for school. So what's the damn difference, right?
Well, I mean that like you're talking about there. I mean that's such an That's the thing that kind of frustrates me. Like some of the games like on Roblox or Minecraft, and I mean some of it is to me it seems kind of mindless, and I'm just like, dang. But then somebody's planning out a whole city. Well, that's pretty complex stuff going on. But like I see some of the games out there, and hey, whatever you enjoy doing, and I get it. It's tough because I get that you go, hey, you're in kind of an educational zone here, so that justifies maybe a bit more time. And there's a game called Kerbal Space Program that we have, and it is like a simulation of rocketry. Like you build a rocket and try to send it to space, and it very much tries to be a simulation. It's not very graphically impressive, but the physics are. I mean, I'm no physicist, but it's really, really hard to build a rocket and get that thing to space sometimes. And then to get it to go further from there. But when my kiddo's playing something like that, I'm like, hey, that feels educational. That feels like he's learning something. He's doing something. He's almost rocking on an engineer kind of a thing going on. So that I feel pretty great about. Some of the games where like in Roblox or for example that are just like hop, 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 and it's just mindless as crap. And I'm like, man, I would rather you at least do like a fighting game or something. I don't know, something that's like get reaction times going.
Yeah. Do your kiddos play the Adopt Me in Roblox? Have they found that one?
I'm not sure about that one. I haven't. Not that I'm familiar with.
Yeah, my 7-year-old loves Adopt Me. She's got like a 200-day streak going.
Okay.
And basically you're just hopping around the world, and you go and you work and you earn money and you buy cars and you buy houses. And she's like turned into a little interior decorator. So her house is a tree house. Okay. And she's got the couches and the bedrooms, and she's got a room for me, and I have a Roblox account.
Nice.
I'm rarely on it, but she was like, "Dad, can you play Adopt Me with me?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And we'll go in, and she's decorated my house, and and the geometry of it is the thing that gets me about that, because your room is only so big,
right?
And you have to go and earn money to buy couches and beds and dressers, but you've got to fit it all in the room, and you've got to have paths to walk. So they've got to measure it out.
Nice.
It's like, man, this is kind of cool. It's like back in the day when that software came out where you could like build a virtual house.
Right.
Like if you're gonna go and buy some land and build a house, you got to build the scale. It's a lot like that, and you got to paint the walls, and you got to do all this stuff, and it's really kind of cool, and you can really get sucked into it.
Well, and you see a lot more value as okay, yes, it's a video game, but it's kind of bordering on educational game or simulator or whatever at that point. And so so as a parent you go, oh well, maybe it's not so bad that they're spending more time on it because they're getting more out of it than just mindless entertainment. And I think there is something to that. I think that's legitimate. It's just personally it's just tough to try to figure out. I mean, now with like the fires, I mean, like everything's closed outside, so I mean, on top of the pandemic, which was closing almost everything outside anyway,
So you
know,
gotta find an outlet for your kid.
yeah, and it's just, I don't know, it's just trying to find some ways to stay active. It's a tough one. He's been doing the punching bag. We're doing like 3-minute rounds. And again, you just click on YouTube real quick. I mean, you can find any man. You can start training with any manner of professionals out there that make YouTube videos of how to 1-1-2, 1-1-2, 1-1-2, jab, 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 hook. So no, it's good. I mean, anything to try to, burn the time.
Burn the time. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, what's the next topic? What do we got?
Yeah, man. How you stay? Talking about games. Do you play like just quickly like? Did you play like online like in like the multiplayer lobbies where there's like a bunch of other players running around too? They would all try to shoot you.
Yeah, to be honest.
Or was that not your bag?
Well, I did. And, I thought when I had kids, I'd do that a lot more with them. But having girls and they're not really interested in kind of the multiplayer lobby things, not so much.
No, I don't do any of that with my kiddos because, I mean, it's like violent as hell.
I was
just fun because it's chaotic.
2K, and Madden. I love those. I always geared more towards the sports games than I did towards the.
Do you still play any of those? Because they're really complicated.
Oh,
I suck at them now. I used to be good.
Yeah, Madden is almost like playing real football. I've watched some of those videos online, and I mean that's ridiculous.
Dude, I just tried to play NBA 2K, and I'm like, man, I used to kill at this game.
Yeah,
I used to kill at this game, and I can't do anything. I kind of had to give up the ghost on that. But no, I was just kind of curious because like that chaos of that open world where there's up to like 20 or 30 people in the world, and these are 20 or 30 other players,
right,
that are sprinkled throughout the world, and they can travel throughout that map, and everybody gets to go everywhere. And just in case people aren't familiar with what this whole setup is like in these games, I mean, it's just the entire city and countryside of like, downtown LA and, its metropolitan area and suburban area.
And your guys just cruising around the world.
And there's just people hauling buns. You get a fancy car, you do your thing. I mean, and it's just, you do missions together, which are fun, but the chaos of just trying to wander around in that open world when everybody is just doing the most chaotic crap to everybody else. I don't know. I love it. It cracks me up.
It's like every man for himself, and somebody's gonna.
Oh yeah, and it's so chaotic that it's ridiculous. And I don't know. There's something about it. I get a charge out of it still, and I've played these games for so many years, and it's still just. Oh.
My guilty pleasure, the thing that I play, and I don't know if it's considered a video game, but it's Pokemon Go. I probably play Pokemon Go 20 hours a week, maybe a little more.
Is that like actually out on walks and stuff still?
Yes.
Good job. I mean, because the walking part is
like significantly more hardcore than I probably should be.
I applaud that game just because it gets folks out walking, and I think that's really neat.
So, for those who are familiar with Pokemon Go, there's many different categories you can rank in, but XP is one that I compete in, and XP is total experience points. So you get experience for catching a Pokemon or evolving a Pokemon or fighting in a gym. So you get experience points, and then those experience points level you up. Right now, the highest level you can get is level 40.
I thought they were just increasing that to like level 50. I saw
they haven't increased it yet.
Okay,
they're going to.
Okay.
So the number one player in the world has 1 billion XP.
Wow.
So you can go in on the website. You can register your XP throughout the month,
What are you ranked?
I'm ranked 212th in the world right
God dang, son.
now.
Ooh, shit.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm ranked 212th
Oh.
in the world. So
Does it say out of how many players there are?
the website currently has like 80,000 players ranked, so it's not quite everybody, but those are probably the most hardcore 80,000 that they went out and found the global leaderboard and they keep up and rank it. So I highly doubt there's somebody that's higher than me that does more about the leaderboard that's not ranked.
That's hilarious.
So yeah, I have one of every Pokemon that is out right now.
Which is why you need to trade me some, because
Yes.
I don't, and it's fun because I mean it's fun in the Pokemon Go. You get to see your friends, activity somewhat, which is kind of a kick. Our progress has just curtailed tremendously because like where we used to go walk is kind of shut down.
Right.
So it's kind of like I don't know where to go.
We've got a big graveyard in Charlotte called Elmwood, and that's kind of the place where everybody plays. There's like 50 Pokestops and 5 gyms in there, and the graveyard is popping like 24/7. So you can go in that graveyard at any time of the day or night, and there's people in there playing Pokemon Go.
Wow.
Yeah, it's legit. Like my wife is like, "Are you gonna go do your nerd thing?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And like she'll come with me to the graveyard, and it's packed. You think there's a funeral going on, but it's
wow.
Oh, it's crazy. And
that's hilarious.
And I probably spend I definitely spend more money on that a month than I should. Buying incubators and star pieces and all that, but it's my thing. I've been playing it since day 3.
Nice.
4 years ago, and it's my thing. I love it. And then I've picked up a side game now by Niantic called Ingress. Ingress actually started before Pokemon Go.
Okay.
It's the game that Pokemon Go is based on. So all of the Pokestops are portals in Ingress. And I've leveled up significantly in that game to the point now where I can create my own Pokestops.
Nice. Yeah, I know that was the one thing we were kind of hoping because my kiddo wants to make the light post out front of our house, a gym. So, because you can make your own gyms, right? Which is kind of sweet.
And I've created 225 Pokestops and gyms. I told you I was hardcore.
Nah, I don't doubt it.
Yep.
No, I love it. And I love that that's also kind of like a game that maybe gets a lot of people into video gaming that were maybe never otherwise consider themselves video gamers. And what's fun, because there's in Pokemon Go, back before the Ronas, there's things called community days where, special Pokemon would appear for a limited amount of time. And we would go to the downtown area of our little town, in the burbs, and the streets would just be packed with people all playing Pokemon. And it was amazing the variety of folks that play Pokemon. And the people, old, young, I mean, men, women, kids, everything.
People are walking their dogs. It's great. It's like
do you do the multi-account, multi-phone action?
No, I can't, because I'm a completionist, and it would kill me to have something on one account and not the other.
Got you. Okay. Yeah, because I've seen guys like just on our own community days wandering around town like with like 2 or 3 phones. You know what I mean? And they have like this. They have like this atomic level fanny pack going on.
It's called a kit. They call it a kit.
I'm sure.
You get the battery packs on your.
Yes, the battery packs with multi-wires.
Yeah.
Yes.
So the way I stand on that is like in the Pokemon Go community, like multi-accounting is like kind of bad. People kind of get.
Oh, is that looked down upon?
The purists, yes. Yes. I only have one account because if I'm catching something on my other phone, I might miss it on this phone, and I want as many XP points on my.
Got you, right? Because you're trying to climb that ladder.
And then if
222 is just around the corner, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. I mean, I know some guys that have 6 or 7 accounts, and they play hardcore on all 6 or 7 accounts, and I'm like, I just got my one team instinct, and I'm going for it. But
No,
yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah, community days are awesome. We actually just had one this past Sunday.
Nice.
And it was awesome. It was Porygon Community Day for people who were watching who might know Pokemon Go, and I caught like 500 Pokemon, and it was awesome.
Oh my God.
Played for 6 hours and 6 hours straight, and it was awesome.
All right, so here's still fun. I'm still keeping it fun and light because to me this is funny as shit. And production's gonna put it right about here.
Okay, I see it.
It was, right, and you may have seen it already. There's a lady at I think it was a high school football game, that had refused to put a mask on. As an outdoor event, for whatever that matters, I mean, the rules were you put on a mask. And so anyway, the security fellow or campus security or campus police, maybe he was an actual metropolitan or policeman, whatever, was telling her that she needed to do this. And then at one point he goes, okay, well, you have to leave. You're trespassed now. And then, of course, once she didn't leave, then it decided to get a little real.
Right.
And it was so good. It was so good. And it is so good because y'all are going to see it right there. I'm just going to let you watch it right now and assume that you're laughing your asses off because it's so good. Because then she gets tased. And it's even better. And the reason why it's so good to me is it's multifaceted, really.
Mm-hmm. Tell me the facets.
Here's a few. So, and this is one thing that this COVID has brought out, at least to my attention. Maybe this was really obvious to lots of folks before, and it kind of was to me, but I just didn't appreciate it to the extent I do now. That white people just really, really believe that they can just do no wrong. And it's astonishing sometimes. Not all white people, of course. I don't want to generalize, even against my own kind. But that's the thing is I can because it is my own kind. So I can say all sorts of outrageous shit because it's my own kind. So it's remarkable, the entitlement. And again, we mentioned this, I think, one of the other episodes of the folks that bitch the most about people getting welfare, which is people getting their entitlement. They're the most entitled people on earth.
Yes.
And this was and I don't know. Have you seen this video that I'm referencing of this lady at the high school game?
I haven't seen it, but I'm watching it right now up in the corner. Right.
Okay. So here's the facets that appeal to me most about this video. The white privilege getting put in check by a black police officer or campus security was just treasure. And kudos to that fellow, because the restraint that he showed, because all I've seen videos of actual policemen that show far less restraint and use remarkably more violence against people that are not actually resisting at all. Because in this video, as you see, this lady is resisting this guy remarkably. She's fighting him tooth and nail. And he has every right to do everything that he did in this video, in my opinion. And based on the videos that I've seen, he could have executed that lady, and that would have been okay. Right. That would have been okay, because based on videos that I've seen of cops killing people, and then the follow-up is that those cops are not charged with any wrongdoing.
Correct.
seems to lead me to believe that in this video you're looking at here, that fellow could have shot that lady.
Sure could have. And
I don't know if you had the audio up on that, but you hear these cries of disbelief and aghast by the crowd of all this over a mask. Indeed. And then you hear the you know, and they're like, oh my God, he tased her. He tased her because of a mask. And like, oh, that's what you're upset about. You're upset that poor lady is getting treated like this. And I would like to offer a correction here. You should not be getting upset at that poor lady getting tased. You should be upset that dumbass lady is feeling so privileged that she had to get put in check like that.
Right.
And, you know, that's where your dismay and aghastness should come from. And so imagine how fraught those folks might have been if that guy would have taken 2 steps back and just unloaded 9 rounds into that lady.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh, all that over a mask. Well, yeah, imagine if she just would have been laying down, not doing anything at all.
Right.
That might have been shocking.
Right. And that actually happened, and nobody seemed to really care about that.
Well, a lot of people care, but you know, not apparently the ones that need to. Which could segue. So anyway, that was my lightheartedness.
You want to do a little buy or sell?
You want to do buy or sell? Or do you want to get into any kind of heaviness?
Well,
do you want to do is your buy and sell heavy or not?
My first buy and sell is probably going to get a little heavy.
Well, fuck it then, roll.
It's probably going to do it.
And,
all right.
And can I just remark? I believe that was my first F at like an hour and a half in. So.
Oh yeah.
Here's to me.
I think an hour and a half is a good time to do a little buy or sell. So first, buy or sell.
Yep.
Can President Trump get his nominee confirmed before the election? Buy or sell?
Right. That was one of my notes here because we talked about that last week, and you were of the opinion that ye old Lindsey Graham would be far too caught up in his election campaign to be able to dedicate time. And so I think you can just take this time now to say you're sorry.
Part of it was me being hopeful, but the almighty politics are ruling the day.
Man.
So do you think he can get it through before the election?
Give me one reason why he cannot.
Oh, just the sheer amount of time, right? Isn't there a constitutional amount of time that they've got to do the hearings and all that? I mean, can they do it? Isn't the Senate going to go on recess? I mean, that's what I was thinking, like logistically, can he do it?
Here's my nickel bet, and we can follow this up next week. I believe by the time we do our next episode, it'll already be done. Honestly. Ain't nothing happening in this country to move anything anywhere good for anybody that, you know, like any of us. But some bullshit like this, sail right on through. 5 minutes later. You know what it reminds me of? Was it Terry Schiavo? The lady that was in a coma? You remember that?
I remember
that?
Yes.
Right. The right to die. The right to die.
Yes. Oh, I remember that whole thing.
You know, I mean, because it's all about baby Jesus, you know. So it was a case, I believe, in Florida, because everything good comes out of Florida, where a lady was in a coma from like a car wreck or something. I don't know, whatever. She was in a coma. And she wasn't coming out. And so her family wanted to pull the plug, but then it was no, all the good Christian folks wanted to come in and swoop in and say, no. And I don't mean to bag on Christians. I'm just saying it was all done in the name of religion. I mean, so whatever. If it was Catholic folks, and that's the thing, as somebody from the outside, it's amazing to me that everybody that worships the cross part and baby Jesus, there's so much infighting. It's like you're just. I get if people are like, and I don't really even get this. Sorry, it's a huge segue, But I don't even get the idea, honestly, because and I may get. Well, I don't see a lot of difference between Jewish folks and Islamic folks.
Okay.
And maybe that sounds weird because they obviously apparently see a lot of difference between themselves. But again, as an outsider looking in, I don't see a lot of difference. I really don't. If you look at a lot of their tenets of what they're supposed to eat, how they're supposed to eat it, where they're supposed to eat it, what they're supposed to do all day, how they're supposed to do it all day, on and on and on.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of similarities. So, and they all kind of come from the same part of the world.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of the same part of the world. And again, this is not a phenomenon limited to just these folks. You know, for example, why were Irish people so upset about other Irish people that were a different type of Catholic, I think, or Catholic and Protestant, or
Catholic? It was Catholic and Protestant.
is that what it is? See,
Yeah.
thank you, because you're gonna be able to cover some of my ignorance here. But you, again, as an outsider looking in, it blows me away. Probably poor choice of word when I'm talking about the whole Irish Catholic Protestant thing. Sorry about that.
See what you did there.
Right, but it just, it's one thing when you're like, okay, you know, the Jews and the Christians and the Islamic folks all don't like each other. Oh my God, okay, you all are so different. But when individual groups of like Christian folks have such a hard time with each other, you know, and you're like, oh my gosh, you're all like fighting about like some little teeny part of like your overall picture, which in my opinion could be said about all three of those groups. You're all fighting over some pretty teeny tiny bits about the overall picture of. Anyway, that's a real quick trip down a metaphysical lane. But what was your original question?
The original question was, can Trump get his nominee through before the election?
Fuck yeah, absolutely.
You gave that an emphatic bye.
Absolutely.
Right. The next one is, I'm going to go with a little bit of a fun one before we get into one that I think is kind of heavy. Buy or sell, the royal family. The English royal family, buy or sell.
I was going to say, which one? Ours? God, how great is it going to be when we have, like, you know, Princess Ivanka?
I know, right?
Prince, I'm Eric. You know, I mean, dude. So now, what are we looking forward to? British royals. I don't really know anything about them. I mean, other than I know that the English taxpayer gets to pay taxes to support their dumbasses, and they're a tourist industry, which is pretty much all that really is. Although it's a tourist industry with dude, I mean, they still have a say in things. I mean, right? I mean, because if the Queen says something to Parliament, I mean, they don't just go, whatever, lady, get out of here, right? I mean, maybe they do. Maybe in these new crazy times that we're in, maybe they just say, whatever, lady, we don't listen to you. But I'm pretty sure the Queen still has.
She has some pull. Yeah, absolutely, she has some pull.
Yeah. So, I don't know. It's such what I thought was an archaic idea, but what seems to be on a bit of a comeback. So yeah, I don't know. I guess we'll have their guards.
Well, there's the whole controversy of Meghan Markle now being part of the royal family.
Okay, right, the American.
And well, she actually had to denounce her citizenship. And she had to become a British citizen.
Oh, hello.
Yes.
Oh, I say so. But then, didn't they just leave there? Didn't they leave England?
They left.
Did they go to Canada?
They went to Canada first, and now they're in LA.
Now they're where?
Los Angeles.
So she's American again, or is she still not an American?
So she had to renounce her American citizenship, but she got to keep her American passport. So technically, she's a British citizen and an American citizen.
Okay, right on. Well, yeah, I mean, cool.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not really too.
You're not that versed in it.
I mean, I hear that she gets a lot of static, either for being American or being not royalty, or maybe because she's brown.
Maybe, maybe.
It's probably because she's brown.
Not a whole lot of brown people in power in Mariel, Jolly-O, England.
Right. So yeah. I guess that's why she's back in LA. I don't know. That's how wild is that? So is there some way that she could be queen?
Well, Harry, I know way more about this than I should.
Harry Potter.
He's like, I think, fifth in line. So it's Prince Charles is next in line. When the queen,
he's like really super old though, right?
He's in his 70s.
Oh, okay.
90s, or he's in his late 60s, early 70s. So when the queen dies, Prince Charles will become the king.
Okay.
When Prince Charles dies or abdicates, which means he
gives it up,
thrown on. So
right.
The queen could theoretically abdicate also.
Right.
So it's the queen, then it's Prince Charles, and then it's what's the older one's name? The one that's going bald, not Harry, but the other one.
Edward.
Not Edward. It'll come to me.
Wait, isn't there one of them that's all caught up in the Epstein stuff?
That's the cousin.
Okay.
So he's like way far down the line. So it's Prince Charles, and then the older son, and then Harry, and then why am I drawing a blank on the one that's set to be king? But then his three kids, and then it's Harry.
Okay. Oh, well,
so they would
probably not.
Yeah, a lot of stuff would have to happen for.
Yeah. So I mean,
Prince William.
Yeah.
So it's the Queen, Prince Charles, Prince William, then all of Prince William's kids, and then Harry.
Shit. So good luck, Harry.
Yeah.
So they're gonna enjoy their time in Malibu or wherever they're at, and
Calabasas is where they are, to be specific.
Okay.
They're neighbors with Kanye and Oprah.
And I'm sure it's lovely there. I mean, of course it is. I mean, Oprah doesn't slouch. So
it's one of the only cities in the United States that is you've heard of a gated community. It's a gated city.
Damn.
Yeah. Yeah. Think on that for a second.
So does anybody give Oprah static? You know what I'm saying, for like living in a gated city, or Kanye static for living in a gated city? He says Kanye lives there, right?
Yeah, Kanye gets static just because he's kind of an idiot, in my opinion. I don't know. If I had an open cup of water and that guy was on fire, I don't know if I'd pour it on him. I just don't have a whole lot of respect for him.
I mean, like his I mean, the coincidence that he had an album dropping and then, I'm running for president. And that's stupid. But what was frustrating about that was, I mean, his willingness to kind of get played like that.
He got played twice.
Blows me away. And I mean, and I know to him he's not getting played. Hey, I got my name out there before my album dropped, and everybody was talking Kanye. Okay, you're a master genius marketer. You're amazing. But that, I mean, and I know that. Here's the thing. What does it take to be a sellout in this day and age? Because when everybody's music goes straight to a commercial for a Chevy, or when everybody is filming, whatever kind of movie, and then, I'm also doing a commercial for yogurt, what is a sellout anymore? My vote is for Kanye doing that kind of bullshit. I mean, because all his stunt did was potentially screw up anybody that might have voted otherwise. Right. I mean, he wasn't like, hey, get out and vote, period. It was, hey, come vote for me, even though I have no chance in hell of making this happen. All I'm going to do is be a disruptor in all this. And I'm allowing myself to be used as a disruptor so I can be selfish and get my name out there about my album, and I'm going to be used as like a silly pawn I mean,
And if I'm being honest, the album wasn't even that good. I mean, I don't know.
but how I mean, and again, am I way off track here?
No,
like, are there
not at all.
folks? It's easy for me to be dismayed, but my dismay doesn't mean a lot. But like, are there folks in, say, the black community that are dismayed by Kanye and his actions like this?
100%. When Kanye appeared on TV wearing the "Make America Great" hat again, people were dumbfounded. They were like,
I mean, where they're like, "Oh, he's just being a joke, and that's kind of funny."
no, because if you listen to his music and what he said up to that point, the things he talked about, the things he was praised about, were furthering the black community and being a positive role model. And then he turns into a Trump guy. It's like, was he playing us this whole time? What, you know?
Right.
And I called it with my friends. I called it. I said, he's going to do a heel turn if we're going to go to a wrestling. He's going to heel turn. And he did. He flipped on Trump. He came out and said, oh, Trump's this or that. And he flipped on him. And then he flipped back. He went from Hulk Hogan to Hollywood Hogan and back to Hulk Hogan. Right? Remember when Hulk Hogan flipped? And he took off the red and yellow.
Is that where he had like the kind of paint on beard?
He had the painted on beard. Remember that? When he flipped and he turned into the bad guy? Wow. And he did the leg drop on Andre the Giant, and all of a sudden he was NWO. I mean, hey, if we want to go there, Kanye West did a heel turn. He did the biggest heel turn ever, and nobody trusts him now because what does he believe? Because if you think about it, if you look at the policies of the Trump organization or Trump administration, organization is probably better. They don't align with the people that buy Kanye's music.
Yeah, yes, I would agree with that.
Now, here's the deal. Kanye's got $1 billion with a B in the bank. So he's no longer Kanye from Chicago. Yeah, right. He's Kanye from Calabasas. His problems are not my problems anymore. His problems are not my friends and family's problems anymore. Kanye doesn't relate to the streets anymore. When you have $1 billion and you live in a gated city,
and I get that, but but like Dr. Dre, I mean, he doesn't live on the streets. You know, he's not from the streets anymore. I mean, he lives I'm sure he's in a gated community, whatever. But he doesn't do this stupid shit.
Right. Now you talked about what does it mean to be a sellout? And it's not saying you got to roll through the hood and do what you used to do, but you have to be true to your values. To me, being a sellout is having your core values that got you to where you are, and now you've sold them, you've compromised your core values for the almighty dollar or for the almighty, clicks and page views and things like that. That to me is what's being a sellout. The things on his early albums that he talked about, he doesn't represent those anymore. He doesn't represent the community that got him to where he is. To me, that's being a sellout.
So you would it be safe to say you would consider Kanye a sellout then?
Oh, I've considered Kanye a sellout for 4 years or longer.
Okay,
I'll go on record to say that. Okay. I have not contributed to his success in a long time. I've not downloaded his music.
Right.
I've not streamed it. And I'm not, trying to say I'm part of a cancel culture, but I do not enjoy him. And with my disposable income, I choose not to support him.
No, I dig it.
So, yeah, I consider him a sellout.
All right. I got one more from my list here. It's kind of a revisit.
All right. You want to do the last buy or sell before we do that? I got one more.
In a way,
or does this segue into that?
Gee, excuse me. This is actually kind of a callback to your earlier buy or sell.
Okay.
Of them replacing the justice.
Yes.
The vacancy. And my question about that was, Ruth Bader Ginsburg selfish for not retiring during Obama's years?
Okay, let's dig into that. My snap judgment answer is no, because the justices are not supposed to play politics. And if she had to retire during Obama's years, that would have been her retiring for a political gain for one party or another.
I
so
mean,
that's
I got to stop you right there because I mean, to me, that like with Comey and the FBI
right,
and freaking Mueller,
right,
and they're almost Boy Scout like adoration to law.
Mhm.
I mean, they have a view of it that I do. But I think that's why I didn't join, because I realized that I was very naive in my view.
Mhm.
And I realized that view when I was fucking 22 years old. That as I understood the law, as I believe like guys like Comey or Mueller or like you say, Ginsburg here. Yes. But there's the common sense part that is, if these guys are not full of shit with their reasonings and why Comey came out, you know, right before the election with, oh my gosh, all these emails, you know, that seems kind of suspicious. I just don't know, but I feel like I just got to say something.
Mhm. Right.
Do
Yeah.
you? You
Mhm.
just felt like you got to say, like maybe like in your head, you go, oh, maybe I don't say something. And maybe that serves law just as much as me opening my big fat yap.
Right.
I mean, like giving no weight at all to like where it is you're saying this, when it is you're saying this, what impact that's having on everything. You're just having this robot like, I mean, god dang, if they're going to be that robot like about the law, then let's just have robots do the lawyer work.
Right.
And skip all these fools,
Mhm.
which would also segue quickly. I know you're doing your, but I can't help it because
Let's go.
it's on my list. Forgiving student loans.
Forgiving student loans. So, as somebody who paid a crap load of student loans, I look at it two ways, right?
Okay.
So there's part of me that always says, and I don't know if this is a left or a right issue, where are we getting the money? Where are we getting the money to forgive the loans?
I got a quick answer for that question every single goddamn time.
Yes.
Military.
Cut the military and give the money to student loans.
Every time I talk to a conservative person that wonks about their taxes, and again, the only people wonking about their taxes I've noticed are like really rich people.
Absolutely.
But like folks like you and I, who also pay taxes, don't wonk about paying our taxes. We just pay our taxes.
Yeah, I have no problem paying.
I
like nice roads.
I didn't realize, well, yes, but I didn't realize that part of the rich guy club was just having an itemized list of things I don't like my taxes to go for. Because if that was the case, is that all it takes to get in the rich guy club? Is coming up with a list of things that I don't like my taxes to go to? Because shit, I can come up with lots of things that I don't like my taxes to support. But guess what? I still scratch my check because that's how taxes work.
Here's the problem. And this is why I say, where's the money going to come from? Because the current administration, if they were to forgive student loans, they would pull that money out of the most painful places for us, right?
Yes, of course they would. No,
they would make it hurt. So that's what I'm saying.
I'm just saying the idea of forgiving student loans, not necessarily. And your point is legit of where do you pay for it in a sane world, or fuck it. Just what is your idea? How would you pay for it?
I'd take it a step further and say kindergarten is free, K through 12 is free. Why can't we make college free? Forget the whole student loan part.
For sure. But Does that go retroactively? Because I mean, because this is my thing. If you take out a loan
Yes.
for anything else, your house, a
Mm-hmm.
car,
Mm-hmm.
a TV,
Right.
what happens if you default on that loan?
They come pick the car up. They come and repossess your house or foreclose on your house. But they can't
Right.
take the knowledge out of your head.
Right. So, you know, should you not be able to claim your degree on a resume if you default on your student loan?
I mean, in a civilized society, which we say we're the number one place in the world, no. However,
Mm.
when you start talking about student loans, you start talking about barriers to entry and keeping people from raising up from the level they are. It is a huge impediment for people who want to get an education to go to school because they can't afford it, right? So my brother is fortunate enough to, I don't know if I told you this, my niece, Evan, she graduated Oregon State
Wow.
in 3 years with a degree in kinesiology, third in her class.
Awesome.
I didn't even know what kinesiology was.
So
Last month,
Mm.
she started medical school at USC, one of the top medical schools in the country,
Wow.
right?
Good for her.
Do you know how much her tuition is per
Oh
quarter?
my God, I don't even.
$18,000 per quarter is her tuition.
Sweet.
Say that again, $18,000, not per year, per
Yeah.
quarter, right? There is no way a smart young kid can afford damn near $400,000 to go to medical school. Like I said, my brother is fortunate that he's able to do it. He saved his whole life for her to do this. She wanted to be a doctor forever. She's going to graduate in 4 years from now, or 5 years, or however long it takes, with very little debt. Very little debt.
Wow.
Well, let's say you or me. We go to school. We go to Oregon. We go to Oregon State. We go to North Carolina. We go to wherever. You're going to graduate with $100,000 in student loans. You're going to spend the next 20 years of your life paying back the student loans. I don't think we should have student loans to begin with, but I'm all on board for forgiving them. But we have to have an administration in place that would do it the right way. Because if the current administration were to try to do it, they would make it hurt every facet of society and say, well, we forgave you student loans, but now you don't have this. Now you don't have that.
Yeah.
And a lot of the things that we need are in such bad shape right now, but I don't trust that they would do it. I think it should be done. I think you should be able to go to college for 4 years with very little investment on your part. Because at the end of the day, if you've got people running around here with 4-year degrees, you're going to have much better people. We talked a couple episodes ago about requiring cops to have a 4-year degree, right? Think about how many more better cops we would have if people could go and get a political science degree or public policy degree, and it didn't cost them an arm and a leg. They didn't have to mortgage their future in order to go to college. The more educated our people are, the better our society is going to be. But
I agree. 100%.
People in power don't want us to have that knowledge. That's how I feel.
Well, I mean, as far as like, you know, a dumb population is easier to control than a smart one.
Absolutely. And it's easier to divide.
And it's easier to pander to, you know, all those things. And I mean, my personal belief is yes. I mean, you know, all schools should be free. You know, I mean, to the graduate level and beyond, you know, okay, maybe you take on some kind of debt at that level. You know,
I'm talking about you get a 4-year bachelor's degree. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, you know, and I might even, you know, hedge back from that and say, okay, you know what, at least 2 years of college. You know, that at least that much should be free, because I do think that that's very beneficial. And, you know, maybe it's not for everybody, and that's okay, but it's for I think everybody can benefit from being in a couple years of higher education learning that
Are
critical
the
thinking.
community colleges in Portland free right now or reduced? I remember hearing something about that. Is that the case? Did that go through? Where they were talking about PCC?
Oh, I think I may. I don't. Not that I'm aware of, but then I haven't followed it. I would have to check up on that. It's a good question. And I don't have a problem with, like I say, when you're getting into the really specialty, like for example, you're going to go be a doctor. Okay. I think that there is some validity to having some
investment,
some commitment. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because that, you can't just willy-nilly that shit. You
No,
can't
absolutely
get
not.
6-9 months into it and go,
Right. I'm talking about a bachelor's degree, a 4-year bachelor's degree.
Or like say,
there's no reason why a 4-year bachelor's degree should cost $250,000.
No, the costs are ridiculous. The costs are stupid, and that's a no-brainer. But I mean, my personal belief, and I mean, just kind of simplifying, like I believe you should be able to go all the way through high school and get 2 years of college for free.
Mm-hmm.
Every American should have that. If we're a first world country, that's what a first world country would do. Not have a bunch of people just not even going to school. I mean, that's what you get in the shithole countries that you hear a lot about. So having more and more people educated is nothing but better. But of course, again, that their whole strategy is the more stupid people. I mean, hell, Dump even says it about like, I mean, I love the uneducated people. Like, yeah, you do. You really do.
Let me throw this at you. 2 years of college or trade school, because college isn't for everybody.
No, for sure. And there's a huge thing about, college, because here's the thing, I know a lot of folks go to college and go away to college to go find themselves and discover themselves and on and on, and that's all great. But that's the thing. That's where I kind of go. I resisted a little bit of forgiving all these student debts because I know for a fact that folks go, I mean, I just get I'm a 9th year sophomore.
Right.
I'm just putting off the real world because I don't want to go join the real world. I'd rather just get more loans and kick it on campus and hang out and party and find myself in shit. And yeah, that sounds great, but I don't want to forgive that loan. I really don't. And you know what? They may be a better person for finding themselves out, but no. Shit or get off the pot. I mean, go to class, get that done, and get out. Right. Not go find yourself and experience a bunch of, and no. If you want to do that, then that's your own loan and you go figure that out. And I understand it doesn't need to be
2 years is the best. High school, 2 years of college, make your decision. Workforce.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. I mean, at that point, I think you ought to know what you're in for. And if you want to make that shot for higher learning and a really specialized degree, and incur some debt, not ridiculous life-killing debt. I'm just saying enough debt to keep you interested, to keep you from walking away.
Yes.
That's all I'm saying. Like a deposit.
Yep.
That's all.
I agree with that 100%.
Yeah. So, I mean, so that way you sort out the folks that are hemming and hawing. Because if you go, hey, it's all free for everybody and everybody signs up and then most of the people drop out, well, you're spending a lot of resources and not getting a lot out of it. But if you're like, okay, everybody after 2 years, this is where you either jump on or you go, okay, I'm going to go do a trade or I'm going to do whatever.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure. No, I'm all for that. I think that's pretty groovy. As far as folks with existing debt,
yes,
having that relieved,
yes,
that's where I kind of go, you signed on for that. You made a big boy decision. You made a big adult decision. You put on your big girl pants and you made a decision. You signed up for a thing.
Mm-hmm.
So you go ahead and live with that thing. And yes, the rates are crazy, and yes, the prices are nuts. But that was not a surprise. You knew that going into it. And that's what's a little frustrating to me, because I'm like, man, I knew what I signed up for when I went to college. And I knew that I had to stop going to college at a certain point because I couldn't afford it anymore.
Right. Mm-hmm.
I couldn't afford it anymore.
Yeah.
And I even realized, okay, I could take out massive loans, but I didn't want to go into debt. And I realized that when I was, 21 years old,
Right.
you know? So,
right. Well, think about this. Think about the people we know in a previous life who were lawyers, right? People that went to law school and racked up incredible amounts of debt. Came out and got a job as a lawyer. We're making $45,000 a year. You look back on that, it's like, was that worth it?
That's what I'm saying. And that right now is like a good scenario, because most of the folks in this town, I mean, like I say, they're pouring coffee with a PhD, and you're like, holy shit.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good luck. Yeah.
Well, while we're talking dollars and cents, I wanted to go to my last.
Oh, sorry. Yes.
Show. No, you're good. You segued right into this. So I go to my local grocery store, and there's a big sign that says pay with exact change or pay electronically. There's a national emergency, a coin shortage. What's up with that? Buy or sell? Is that legitimate, or is that a pile of BS?
A national coin shortage emergency.
What do you think? Is that real?
Coins in? I mean, I guess you could see that could be a thing because so few people use cash anymore. And so most stores don't have cash registers, as it were, with coins and whatnot.
So
an emergency, I don't know. That seems a little strong.
Yeah, it says the Federal Reserve announced in June that the supply system for coins has been severely disrupted. The U.S. Mint and Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin has urged Americans to use coins or turn them into banks as the shortage persists. It's become clear that there's still a conundrum that only coins can solve. There's a lack of shortage of available coins in the U.S., which is why the U.S. Mint has caused the lack of circulation due to COVID-19.
Okay. Yeah, no.
It sounds fishy to me. Now, I know we talked about some conspiracy theories and moving to a cashless society. I want to know, buy or sell, is this a part of that conspiracy to go to a cashless society, or do you think the supply chain has seriously been disrupted?
So are you suggesting possibly that the Mnuchin is like absconding with all the coins to go make another Lego movie? Because I mean, that's his big background, right?
Yeah, potentially. I mean, so because of COVID-19, I just don't understand, where did all the coins go? Right? I get that less people are.
I got the same pile of coins in my car coffee cup holder. I don't know. It's been the same pile of coins that have been in there forever. I don't use any of them. I would occasionally get a few more, like when I would buy stuff at the store with cash, but I never buy anything with cash.
Right. I don't use a lot of cash either. I'm just wondering why all of a sudden there is a
shortage. Well, okay, so because Instacart.
Okay.
That's my guess.
But where did the coins go though?
Oh, well, like I said, the Mnuchin is hoarding them, and I mean, because dude, I mean, how many billions of dollars are there in coins? There's got to be a lot. I mean,
right.
in all the different coins, that's got to be a lot of dough, and that seems like the type of racket grift that this administration would be famous for.
Take a look at your little handheld device and look at that picture I just sent you. Take a look at that. I know this is great TV, but take a look at that.
No, I get it. No, you're right. I mean,
if you've never been out, you probably haven't seen this sign, but look at that. I mean, isn't that is?
No, I get you.
And these signs are everywhere. Every business you go to, if you go out, you see this sign. It's everywhere, and you can scroll through that and you can see everybody saying that there's a coin shortage. I'm not buying it personally. I don't know, man.
No, that's interesting.
I got questions. I mean, that's not like some little mom and pop shop. That's a large home improvement company with a very slick sign that says you have to pay with exact change, or we prefer you pay with debit. I mean, wrap your head around that.
So what is the benefit then of or the downside of a cashless society? Is that like?
So some of my friends are hugely against this, and I'll tell you their perspective, which I'm not going to say I agree or disagree, because I think I still have a little bit of faith in the government, and maybe I shouldn't, but I think I do. So the downside to a cashless society is if all of your money is digitally held and you don't have physical control of your money, theoretically or essentially, at any point, the government could turn off your bank account, right? They could
hide it all under the mattress.
Well, I'm not saying that, but a cashless society means, a total cashless society means you couldn't physically go to the bank and get your money out.
But couldn't you? I mean, aren't there times? I mean, like if you had enough money, you wouldn't be able to go and get all your money out of a bank. If you had, I mean, if you had a lot of money.
Right. No, but this is saying you wouldn't be able to go and get any of your money out. Your money is all in the bank, and the only thing you have is your
credit chip.
Your credit chip, right?
Yeah.
So you couldn't go to an ATM and take out $20. You would have to go somewhere and swipe your card for $20. You wouldn't be able to get any physical money at all. And the theory goes is the powers that be, or people who are doing something nefarious, at some point could turn it off, and all of a sudden you have no money on your card and you can't go and get it.
No, I mean, I do get that, and yes, but
I mean, I very rarely have cash on me. I don't use. I just never carry cash.
No, I mean, but like ever since like they made the, I was just thinking about how they made like the little things you can plug into your phone and then swipe a card.
Yep.
Right. I mean, when it got to that point, and I mean that's several years old now. I mean, when money got to that point, when we almost are cashless, and I understand we're not. I understand, yes, you can go and I just got out money when I went to the weed store because they only take cash. And can't just I mean, we haven't even got. What a crazy world that we live in. That there's like marijuana stores. I mean, that you just walk into.
Yeah, we could talk about that also.
We have those, and they're pretty neat. But yeah, I mean, they're cash only, and if they, I guess that's the thing. I mean, that's the only place I use cash is at the weed store. If it weren't for the weed store, and before that, it was the weed guy. That was the only time I used cash was for weed.
Can we just say rip to the weed guy who's now unemployed?
Yeah, right. Yeah, I had to go out and get a job.
Nobody thought about that, right?
Oh, well, I mean, just the whole weed industry is so crazy. How the big money behind weed, the big money behind marijuana. I mean, it wasn't like it was a surprise when it became legal. I mean, that there might be a lot of opportunity to make some money. And yeah, there is. But that's what's so crazy now is that if you're not a big player, it's like all the little guys have already been squeezed out.
Oh, they lasted like a year and they're done.
Man, it's crazy. It's crazy. You're like, oh, okay, like all the other industries, like, corn or tobacco or whatever. Okay, yeah, you get that. That's the big agri farm and they get bought over by conglomerates. But you would think, oh, there'll be so many little independent weed growers all over Oregon. You just think all the lush, the green valleys and weed farm. No. It is industrial scale weed production.
You got your Fred Meyer, basically, of the weed store, the Costco.
Yeah, I mean the neighbor where I work, the place next door. I mean, you could always smell it, and this is before it was legal. Like it was still medicinally legal, but you could always smell it. You'd be like, dang, what's going on over there? And it was just a nondescript by a gas station, kind of mini warehouse looking building, just sheet metal, and it just looked like nothing, right?
Right.
But like the smells, you're like, dang, like everybody would be like, dang. But then when it became full tilt legal here, I mean, you just see them bagging up like these huge stocks and like throwing it out in their bin and stuff. You're like, oh my goodness. I mean, like on shipping day, I mean, they back up like not a full tilt semi truck, but like a big commercial truck to load up. I mean, they're getting down, and that's all year round.
Right.
It's not like just when it's sunny out,
Yeah,
and there is an outdoor farm just right next to me because I live kind of on the edge of the suburbs by some kind of farmland and stuff. And it is wild driving past a farmland, and it's just fields of marijuana. It is wild.
And just think about how many people are locked up right now behind that.
Man. I mean,
we could do a whole show on how many people are locked up for having an eighth in their pocket at the wrong time.
Man, crumbs.
Yeah.
Crumbs. I mean, I remember going to the evidence room once to see all this mountain of evidence against our client. And they brought in like this big brown paper wrap thing, and they opened it all up. So proud of like all this. It was just dirt and rocks and like playing cards and like trash and candy wrappers. I'm like, what is that? That's the big grow up, like, man. Okay.
I mean, back in the day, people would get years for grow ops. Years.
Yeah. And that was the stuff that was used to hammer them.
Right.
And it was amazing that shit worked. Yeah, like you say, I mean, people just need, and I don't know if around here, did they just, I honestly don't know if they let people out once it became legalized. People that were in on charges, did they just let them out?
I remember seeing something that it not being local to me, I didn't follow. I'll do some research and find out what happened. But, I mean, I'm still pretty much against a meth head, cooking down the street. I still think that's pretty bad.
Well, and that's kind of curious too. Like, if you say legalize everything, I don't know if I want somebody smoking crack.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing.
But I don't know. Maybe.
I don't
go tweak out on the corner.
I'm a pretty liberal guy. I'm pretty much do what you want to do. Mm-hmm. But even when we were working at the law office and we were defending people, we had crackhead, we had meth head, we had heroin dude, I never, and I'm not like this, like, Mother Earth, all, this, but I never considered weed a drug, and in Oregon, it's a Schedule I drug. So it's on the same level as heroin. And my God, if that's not the worst classification and overcharging somebody, you're going to charge somebody with a plant versus somebody with heroin.
Which is a plant, a derivative.
But it's
I'm just saying.
Yeah, but it's a much more the poppy. It's a much more
forget about it.
I had the hardest time with that when we were doing what we were doing.
I guess my only thought is just that folks are going to do whatever they're going to do.
They're going to do what they're going to do.
So if you made it legal, you made it clean, you made it, legitimate. They want to go get spun out. They're going to go get spun out.
Right.
And if they can at least, I mean, it seems crazy, but I'm sure lots of people think that having weed stores is crazy, but just to try to, I mean, just in the interest of trying to remove the illicit aspect of the substance itself can get you so much trouble. your actions can still get you in trouble. You know, whether you're all messed up and rob somebody, or whether you're stone cold sober and rob somebody,
It's your action.
you still rob somebody.
Well, I
So
look
that's
at
the part that you're getting hammered on. If you got some rocks in your pocket when you rob somebody, that shouldn't add to it. And to me,
so this is the way I look at it. The physical act of ingesting methamphetamines is not only harmful to yourself, but what it causes or lowers people inhibitions to do is harmful to overall society. Somebody walking down the street sparking up a joint, I don't think that's harmful. And maybe I'm medically unsound. I don't think that leads to anything else.
But your same description could be applied to liquor.
It could, and remember, liquor used to be illegal during Prohibition. And
we've managed all these years with it being legal, and I mean, it fucks up a lot of people.
Right. And it might be a double standard, but I look at cocaine and heroin and all these other things different than I look at marijuana.
No, I get that.
I might be medically ill-informed, but I'm 47 years old and I've been around all types of people. And somebody sparking up a joint is completely different than me than taking a hit off a crack pipe. And I've seen everything. And
I would agree with that.
You know, or somebody tossing back a fifth of Jack Daniels. It's different to me. And again, it might be a double standard and I might be a big hypocrite, but I don't see a problem with one and I see a problem with the other.
Well, you know, I will say, I mean, you know, having seen, you know, the results of folks that do toss back, you know, a lot of alcohol, I mean, that can lead to some pretty, you know,
dire consequences.
Yeah, destructive behavior and whatnot, and consequences for those not directly involved.
Yeah,
right.
Agreed.
So, you know, if somebody is going to drink and drive and get in a wreck and hurt an innocent, what does it matter if they're drunk or if they're smoking crack?
Fair.
You know.
Yeah.
I think I don't want to say like I'm advocating for folks to go smoke crack, by the way, because I'm not. But I just I do truly believe that folks are going to do whatever they're going to do.
I agree with that.
And you know, it like I say, you know, the amount of folks we have incarcerated and the entire prison industrial complex. Like I said, we can do big segments on that. And we should, because it's important. That's a legitimate topic that we should
I've got a significant take on private prisons we can talk about. Yeah.
I'm not a fan, so we can give a little preview. I just want to end with one quote that I was watching. Aldous, I'm not going to say his name right. Aldous Huxley, Elodius. I always thought it was Elodius Huxley. Aldous Huxley, fellow that wrote Brave New World. Mm-hmm. And I was watching an interview with him the other day. It's fun watching this stuff on YouTube. There's such weird old clips of things. Mm-hmm. But it was an interview. I mean, it's like from like 1955 or something. And again, you know, he wrote Brave New World, which, you know, we're living right now. Mm-hmm. And he wrote that like in the 40s, I believe. And I mean, first of all, this interview was super fascinating to me because maybe the interview was in the 50s, late 50s, but the warnings and the concerns that he had over technology and our uses of it and how technology could be used, you know, to bad ends. He talked about, I mean, because again, this was just right after World War II. So, you know, he was talking about, you know, how Hitler didn't even have television, but he made such use of the radio
right
at the time.
Yeah.
Hitler was like prolific with the radio, and what an impact that had. Because even as he was saying then, he was like, because it was a constant like barrage
Raj.
of radio in your ear all day, every day, and how much of an influence that had on folks. But anyway, at one point he was talking about the technology, and his quote was, "We mustn't be caught by surprise by our own advance in technology."
And would you venture to say you believe that we've been caught by surprise?
Well, I mean, I just think about like when he said that, which was like the late 50s was when this interview was, and his view at that time. You know, again, yeah, I mean, well, I mean, technology is always, I mean, shit, ever since, fire to, melting things to turn it into steel or whatever, technology. But at that time in the 50s, you're coming off World War II and dropping atomic bombs on folks. And I mean, that's some pretty wild stuff. I mean, that's big difference in the world,
Right.
know? And what was wild was his concern was more for things like the radio than they were for nuclear weapons. His concern for the, his warning for our use of technology was not, at least my take on it from that interview, he wasn't giving some big dire warning about our nuclear weapons and how crazy they are, and look what we can do. We can blow up the world 30 times over, 50 times over, whatever. It was about how much impact the radio had. And TV was just in its infancy.
Right.
And he was seeing that, and he was realizing it. He was saying, dang, this television stuff, how about that?
Right. This could be really dangerous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He didn't even know what the internet was.
Right.
And I mean, if he could see the world now, and the phones, and our willingness to give it all away,
right,
and like you said, our inability to not be surprised by our technological advances. We make these and to me, it's similar even with like electronic vehicles, like we were talking about before. Like the power that EV cars have, it's insane. I've never driven one. I've only seen videos, but it looks remarkable. And I honestly don't know if the general public, excuse me, is suited for driving cars with that kind of power. I honestly believe you should probably have a special permit to drive a jacked up 4-wheel drive, because
well take it a step further. You talked about in the quote our ability not to be surprised by technology. Take electronic vehicles a step further to self-driving cars, right? In 10 years, are we going to look back and go, oh my God, I wish we would have known this 10 years ago, right? Self-driving cars is going to be a game changer. The minute that is streamlined, that's going to be a game changer.
Yeah.
Well, and that's part of our technology that we are embracing without knowing what are the pitfalls or even the good parts about it.
Well, one of the ironic pitfalls from what I heard was that it will increase congestion. It will increase traffic, which I was like, no, I thought the whole idea was like electric cars will cancel out that accordion effect of the stop and go and like the congestion and stuff. But it was I gotta watch more of it. But it was surmising that we would actually have more congestion, whether it was everything will be so damn efficient that everybody will get there all at the same time. I don't know. I gotta look a little more about it. But but my curiosity was that I don't think people are able to handle the power of electric vehicles, at least the power that they're giving them now, because it's similar to like I say, like a great big giant 4-wheel drive truck or a really powerful sports car. Like you can get into any of those vehicles with your same driver's license. And that's crazy because the performance level of all those different vehicles is way different than a Toyota Camry, you know? and you know, I mean, you can get into a 43-foot RV and go cruise around with the exact same license as you drive around with now. You know, and it's like, maybe that needs to be looked at a little bit. Like, okay, you know, are there certain horsepower parameters that you need a special license for? Or if you're going to jack your, you know, your power stroke 9 feet up in the air, then maybe you need a permit to show that you can actually demonstrate how to handle a vehicle like that. Because, you know, I don't know, that's just the deep state reaching for your pocket or something, but
I was just going to say, write that down and let's talk about that next week. Regulation. And is regulation a good thing or a bad thing? Because I think what you are alluding to in the part of the country I live in is people hate regulation. People hate.
They say that because they're ignorant as shit until something happens and they're, why didn't somebody do something about that? Yeah, like maybe regulate it. I mean,
I think regulation is key to a civilized society.
Yeah, of course.
But a lot of people hate regulation.
A lot of people are dumb.
True.
So, and you know, sorry to spoil the next episode. All right. So, anything else to wrap us up in?
I think we did it, man. I think we did a good show. Everybody watching, I appreciate you sticking around to the end. And, you know, this has been another episode of the Jamal and Joe Show. I do have a couple requests for people. Hit the like button, send us a comment, and subscribe. And after you do that, you got to do one more thing. Turn on the notifications. Because what's going to happen is throughout the week, there's going to be little clips of the show that's going to drop. You're going to get notified. You'll be the first one to get notified of it. So that's very important. And then the other one is go to Twitter, Jamal and Joe Show on Twitter. You know, follow us there, make a comment. If we said something you like or something you didn't like, make a comment. Let us know what you like. We want to interact with everybody watching this. You know, Joe and I have some very strong opinions, and I believe we're right. That's just me. But I don't want it to be just a one-way thing. I'd like, you know, people out there in the viewing audience to respond back to us. So as you're watching this, hit like, subscribe, turn on notifications, follow us on Twitter. That's all I got, my man. Great show. Love the insight. Love your point of view. I don't know if you have any parting shots.
You know, I mean, I already got things lined up for next episode, you know, and so I'm sure there'll be any number of new topics that come up during this week ahead that will be more than enough to fill many, many hours.
There were so many heavy things that we didn't even get into this week. We kind of had a little bit of a lighter show.
No, it's good though. And there's plenty of time for all the heavy, the balance, you know?
Yes.
Now it was really good. And I do appreciate everybody, tuning in. You know, we'll be back soon and, just hang on for the wild ride.
Hang on. This is going to be a crazy 30, 40 days running up to this election. A lot's going to happen.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, this is kind of a lighter episode. I have a feeling like, you know, the next 5 weeks or so, we may have some heavier episodes coming up.
Yeah, we're going to dig in. We're going to get into it.
Yeah, that's good. So, right on.
Great show. Talk to you soon. All right, everybody. See you later.